This is Benzino of the Wild Report, where we bring you into the amazing world of science and exploration. What better way to kick off our channel than with National Geographic's 2016 Emerging Explorer Symposium? Let's get started! It's hard to believe that it's been over 5 years since the very first episode of the Wild Report, back in August of 2016. I started this channel with the mission of bringing together people from all walks of life who are interested in learning about and exploring the natural world, and that mission has remained the same since video 1. Since then, we've explored some of the most beautiful landscapes in North America, from the Rocky Mountains to the Louisiana bottomlands to my backyard in the North Carolina Piedmont. Along the way, we've learned so much about the ecosystems where we explore, made new friends, and of course, encountered a huge variety of wildlife. From energetic birds to fluffy mammals, from cryptic amphibians to some of my personal favorite reptile species, this video is a celebration of some of the incredible animals that we've discovered over these past few years of the Wild Report. Our first wildlife adventure in the field was a wintertime forest exploration in the wake of a rare snowstorm here in North Carolina, and I still think that was one of the most fun videos I've made. Most of this episode was devoted to tracking animals and some winter bird watching, and isn't exactly an adrenaline-pumping adventure, but as the first time I filmed local ecosystems for a video, would help usher in the more modern era of Wild Report episodes. We learned about numerous animals from throughout the Carolinas in that first full year of the channel, and when I finally had a chance to start finding and filming our native reptiles, I realized that there were thousands of people out there who were interested in learning more about these largely misunderstood animals. Whether coming from a place of fear or fascination, so many viewers wanted to learn where and how they lived, how to identify them, and why they mattered to local ecosystems. So, I began trying to find and film as many of our native reptiles as possible, and started herping for the first time. Over the next year, we'd meet the first snapping turtle featured on the channel, find an absolutely enormous South Carolina king snake, and encounter the first black rat snakes that would be featured on the channel. You all really seem to enjoy videos about our native reptiles, so in the winter of 2017, I decided to head down to southern Florida to try and find and film some of the invasive reptiles that part of the country is known for. Despite my lack of herping experience, I was somehow lucky enough to encounter the most famous of Florida's invasive snakes, the Burmese python.
That is the Burmese python, the most well-known, besides the American alligator, animal in the Everglades. Look how ridiculously big this awesome animal.
I was ecstatic to have found and been able to film one of these supersized constrictors, and it turns out that many of you were also excited to learn about this species. At the time, that was my first video to pass 1,000 views, and suddenly hundreds of new explorers had joined the channel and were interested in learning about wildlife. The python video helped me realize that if I kept at it, I really could reach just as many people online as I could from other platforms such as television, and I began investing more time into this channel than ever before. With the help and support of this amazing community, I was able to purchase a new camera and the editing software that I still use today, and I headed back down to Florida to film perhaps my favorite reptile species of all time, the American alligator. In this episode, we headed out with a nuisance alligator trapper to assist with the relocation of an 8-foot female who had wandered into the backyard woodlot of an unhappy landowner. I had wanted to interact and film with a large wild gator for years, and being able to bring such a beautiful and ecologically important animal in front of the camera was an absolute dream come true. To this day, that was one of my favorite videos to ever produce, and it would never have been possible without your support. In 2018, we met a few more of North Carolina's native animals, and also headed out west to the prairies and mountains of Yellowstone National Park for my high school graduation trip. We met the likes of elk, bison, and American black bears during these videos, animals which I had been hoping to film in the wild for years. The videos showcasing the amazing mega mammals of this part of the country were my first attempts at more documentary-style filmmaking, and I discovered that I really enjoyed the creative flow of those kinds of videos. 2019 was another huge year for this channel, and as I began my college career at NC State, I was suddenly surrounded by hundreds of other people who were just as interested in exploring and learning about wildlife as I was, and we had some fantastic adventures together. The year kicked off with a memorable night of herping for the beautiful spotted salamander, and an absolutely incredible trip to southern Texas, on which I was able to film numerous species of snakes and the legendary alligator gar. Later on that spring, here in North Carolina, I found my lifer copperhead, a viper which stole my heart and is quite possibly tied for my favorite snake of all time. And then, in the summer of 2019, we headed to Louisiana to meet up with Zach and find and film the amazing canebrake rattlesnake, as well as western cottonmouths, three-toed amphiumas, and a host of other incredible wetland species. That same summer, I was even able to sneak down to Costa Rica for a few weeks of field research, and capture the amazing tropical biodiversity on camera. By the time 2020 rolled around, we had reached 10,000 subscribers on the channel, a milestone that I never anticipated or even thought possible in the early days of the channel. And then, that spring, the COVID-19 pandemic began. As the whole world suddenly turned on its head, there was a renewed demand for educational videos, so I got to work on the Ecology series, which was designed specifically to help educators supplement their science curriculum. That has been a really fun series for me to work on, and I plan to produce similar videos in the future. I was also able to use my newfound time to head out to coastal North Carolina for some pandemic herping, and film bucket list snakes, including my lifer Carolina pygmy rattlesnake and eastern mudsnake. In the fall of 2020, we met an absolutely beautiful eastern hognose snake, and finished off the year with some neat little eastern newts. 2021 started out with a bang when I had the chance to film Eric Teitsworth research with the Neuse River water dog, and produced my very first short film about the conservation and ecology of the species. Of all the videos I've ever worked on, I may be the most proud of that one, as it allowed me to communicate the work of an amazing scientist and an amazing species to my community, both here on YouTube and elsewhere. That spring, we learned about a super cute baby copperhead, the impressive Florida cottonmouth, and some amazing wetland bird species. Over the summer, we traveled to New England, setting camera traps and searching for wildlife, as I worked on an undergraduate research project with the NC Museum of Natural Sciences. We also encountered a beautiful wild corn snake, witnessed some incredible osprey feeding action, and snagged my lifer queen snake. We finished off 2021 with a beautiful pumpkin spider, mother marbled salamander found protecting her nest, and finally, the graceful and iconic white-tailed deer. As I make this video and look back on our past adventures, I cannot believe how many amazing animals and people we've met over these past 5 years. Whether you've been a part of this community for 5 days or 5 years, I want to take a minute and say a personal thank you to every single person who is watching this video right now. You're always there to support my content and my educational mission, and none of this would be possible without you. I'm looking forward to many, many more animal adventures in the coming years, and I'm so excited to continue inspiring a love of science and exploration with your help. I wish you all a new year of health and adventure. Stay curious and keep adventuring everywhere. This has been Zeno of The Wild Report, signing out.